Coming up, we'll be talking about the man of the hour, Ayden Heaven. We'll have a little injury update on him. Also, we'll talk about Bruno Fernandes and how mint he is. Could talk about that all day. Let's get into it. Jay here, Stretford, Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, I'm outside Old Trafford and it's actually colder than you would think, so you might need your parkas. Plus, it's spitting, get them in. Loads of stories to get through, focusing on yesterday's epic win over the mighty Leicester City. 3-0 win on the road for Manchester United's very loud Reds there. You could hear the away section coming through the telly. Also spoke to a few Reds there. They said the away end was absolutely pumping. It's amazing what a win and a bit of, a few goals can do for everyone, and it just gets the spirits lifted. But to be fair, the travelling support of United has been mint for many years, including this season, even though the football at times has been pretty dire. But it wasn't dire yesterday. There was some very good performances, least of all Ayden Heaven. Big news on him was the injury, of course. He had a fantastic performance. I think if you look at his numbers, there's a few stats floating around. He was just sort of absolutely, I think, colossal is how Andy Tate described it, and I agree with it in terms of that first half performance and the start of the second half until he got injured. Now, the injury was obviously very worrying. We did have a little bit of an update. I think Andy Mitten tweeted the fact that he was walking. I think he had one of those sort of leg things on, foot things on, but he was walking out of the stadium, so it looks like it's not a break, which is what may have been feared at first. The fact that if you break your leg, you don't just walk out of the stadium. Also, the manager gave an update and he said they didn't really know they'll see this week because I think he said he was struggling to speak. He was struggling to sort of say what was going on for him when he was sort of tended to on the pitch. So they weren't really clear. But it does look as though it isn't as bad as first feared. There was some real fear at first that he'd done some ligament damage or he'd broken his leg. We don't know the nature of the injury, but it doesn't look as though it's as serious as one of the injuries I've just mentioned there. We do need him back. It's mad, isn't it, how he's almost become essential. A player that we signed for £1.5 million. He felt like a bit of an afterthought when him and Patrick Dorgu were paraded here when he first signed. It was like, oh, there's Dorgu. Oh, yeah, there's that kid Heaven who's, one for the future. But Heaven's come into the side and he's absolutely smashed it. I thought he did well when he came on against Fulham. He did very well against Sociedad the other week when we won here at 4-1. And he did very well against Leicester City as well. He's been sort of just come into this team and look completely assured. He looks like a seasoned pro. And he's only a kid, what is he, 18 years old? Barely played any professional football, and he's absolutely bossing it at Manchester United. Long may it continue, and hopefully we can get him back in the team because we have got some big games coming up. We've got the international break, but then after the international break, I think you've got Forest on, is it April Fool's Day? That could be quite apt. You've got the Manchester Derby, of course. I think it's around April the 6th, I think that might be. Then you've got Sociedad. You've got home and away games against Sociedad. If we could get him back, I don't want to sort of, jump the gun. If we can get him back for the Sociedad games in particular, that would be a massive boost for Manchester United because that is the season, innit? If we can win the Europa League, we are in the Champions League, plus we pick up a bit of silverware at the end of a season that was shaping up to be a complete disaster not long ago, and it still could end up being one. But there is a little bit of hope there, so we hope Ayden Heaven is back sooner rather than later, and well done to him for an absolutely brilliant performance at the King Power Stadium. Another brilliant performance we can get into is Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes, right? Why is there even a debate about Bruno Fernandes? How has there become a debate about Bruno Fernandes? There shouldn't be one. There is no discussion, argument, debate. He's absolutely mint, and he has been since he arrived at Old Trafford. It's ludicrous that we have these discussions and people criticising him and saying, oh, he's part of the problem. Part of what? What problem? The problem of getting you loads of goals and assists and absolutely carrying the team. The problem of playing practically every single minute of every single game when everyone else is injured. The problem of being even the player that puts in the most tackles like he did at Leicester City when that isn't even meant to be his main attribute. I don't understand how we can even have these discussions about Bruno Fernandes. We're so lucky to have him, and he keeps showing it us time and time again. I think he's done another record now where he's joined the ranks of the likes of Ryan Giggs and Wayne Rooney and all the rest of him. Eric Cantona up there with 50 plus assists for Manchester United in the Premier League. Plus he's got 50 plus goals as well for Manchester United. I think he joins Wayne Rooney as the last player. Wayne Rooney's the last player to do that for Manchester United. So it shows you how long we've had to wait for someone to start delivering those sort of numbers. But it isn't just about goals and assists. I said it earlier about what he did at Leicester City in terms of winning the ball back, making tackles, and creating chances, of course, as we've already mentioned. So he's just fantastic. He really is magnifico, and I'm glad we've got him. And I just feel like these discussions and these criticisms he gets the ROTT. It's been going on for years. I remember a few years ago people saying, you know what United need to do? They need to get rid of Bruno Fernandes and play Donny van de Beek. What? What you want about? That was a genuine argument people were making, that it should be Donny van de Beek starting ahead of Bruno Fernandes. Donny van de Beek, who was just never good enough for Manchester United, unfortunately. He just wasn't. Over a player who has been our best signing post Sir Alex Ferguson and one of our best signings in Premier League history. He has. He's been that good. He's been one of the best signings Manchester United have made in the Premier League era. Honestly, now you might go, Jay, what are you talking about? Oh, is he better than Eric Cantona? Is he better than, I don't know, Andy Cole and all that? I'm not saying he's better. I'm saying he's one of the best signings. He's up there with those calibre of players in terms of the effects he's had, the impact he's had, and the class and quality he has got. Yeah? Obviously, other players have won far more and there are players we've signed who've been better than Bruno Fernandes. I admit that, but he has been one of our best. He really has, and I think it goes more than just post Alex Ferguson. I think it goes back further than that, and the stats prove it. The fact that he's in that list with some of the players I mentioned in terms of what he's creating shows you, and he's doing it in a team that is underperforming. Wayne Rooney said it on Match of Day 2 last night. I was able to watch it because United won, which is, a nice little treat. He was saying that you look at the other players that have created so many chances and have got so many assists for Manchester United over the years, the likes of the players I mentioned, Wayne Rooney and Ryan Giggs and Eric Cantona and all them, they were doing it in teams that were winning titles, that were challenging at the very top of the league. If United finished second with those players, it was a disaster. If United finished second now, it's a bonus. So he's doing it in a team that is massively underperforming, and he's having to carry that team, and I think we need to put some respect on Bruno Fernandes' name. To be honest with you, the vast majority of United fans do. It's just a small minority that try and be clever and try and dig him out, and then some ex-players as well who seem to have a bit of a beating upon it when it comes to Bruno Fernandes, and I never quite understood it, because yes, you can criticise him and say, okay, certain attributes or certain parts of the game, sometimes he does try a bit too hard. He has had a few games where he's not been at his best, but overall, he's just been a phenomenal player for Manchester United, and I think we can all admit that. Another player who had a very good game yesterday, and it was great to see, was Rasmus Hojlund. Got his goal. I did call it, if you watched the preview, I said he was going to get his goal, and he did. Even a broken clock is right twice a day, though, isn't it, to be fair. He celebrated, he put a post on Instagram where he said, it's safe to say, I think he really enjoyed that one. I think that's what he said. And it was good to see him and Alejandro Garnacho combining as well. I know the goal that they combined for was disallowed, but there has been a bit of an issue with them too. I've noticed it a lot at the games here, because I go to all the home games. You can see the reaction from Rasmus Hojlund towards Garnacho isn't just a player that's a bit miffed with his teammate for not passing. There seems to be a bit of needle there, but they were combining yesterday. They looked a little bit more friendly towards each other. You want to see players gelling. You want to see players getting on. And the fact that these two don't really create chances for each other, don't really create goals for each other, is a bit of an issue. Hopefully we can turn a bit of a corner here and we can get them firing on all cylinders together, because look, we need those two combining to create goals. We don't have many options in attack. We haven't got Cheeto in the Europa. Plus, I don't really think he's going to be starting many games this season anyway. So you're going to have Rasmus Hojlund leading the line more often than not. Alejandro Garnacho is a first-team player. He is going to be playing for Manchester United alongside Rasmus Hojlund, so he needs to be creating chances for him. They both need to be getting on with each other, and I think we are seeing that. It was good to see, sort of recreating that little picture with them sat on the advertising boards. Obviously, Kobe Mainoo wasn't there, but we all loved that picture, didn't we, last season? So United have got an international break. Well, everyone's got an international break coming up, and it's probably much needed. Hopefully, we can get a bit of a breather, get some players back from injury. Mason Mount didn't get any minutes at the King Power Stadium. I thought he was going to. The manager sort of indicated he was going to, but he didn't. Hopefully we can get him back in the team after the international break. We've got some big games coming up, like I mentioned earlier. You've got, obviously, I think we've got the game against Forest. We've got the Manchester Derby. You've got that double-header against Lyon in the Europa League as well. So big games coming up post-international break, and hopefully we can get some big players back for it. I've been Jay. This has been The Paper Talk. Don't forget to hit like, share and subscribe. We're going to be back later on with the Paddock Podcast. Thanks for watching.